Final judgment. I am an engineer who married the love of my life 5 years ago. We are both working professionals. Everything was perfect and fine until a month ago after our honeymoon. My wife would leave for the office at 8 a.m. and I at 7 a.m. Our physical life was satisfactory, as I made sure she never lacked anything in our marriage, and she never complained. I would return home between 9 p.m. to 10 p.m., and she would usually be back by 7 p.m. A few months ago, 2 of my friends saw my wife at a coffee shop with a man. They were holding hands, and he had his hand on her shoulder. They didn't tell me immediately, thinking it would harm our friendship. However, they would often ask me if there were any problems in my marriage, to which I always replied no. To cut a long story short, they eventually told me about the other man and how they had seen my wife with him multiple times in different malls. They also asked if my wife had told me about her outings. I was shocked to hear this, as I always thought she was at work. After arguing with my friends, I decided to keep an eye on her without confronting her. She acted normal at home, but I noticed she was often busy on her phone. When my friend informed me that my wife was at a food court with the same man, I called her office. However, I was told she was in a busy meeting. I then called her, but she didn't answer. My friend told me she was purposely avoiding my calls as he had been observing her. I lost my mind and hired a private detective to keep an eye on her. I didn't want her to know about this, as if my friends were wrong, it would cause problems in our marriage. After a few days, I was shocked to see pictures of my wife, and the man hugging, kissing, and being physically intimate. The detective confirmed that they were having an affair and that the man was her colleague in the same department. I also found out that she had taken a week off from work, claiming it was for a company meeting in Bengaluru. However, she was absent from work for several days, and a warning letter was issued to her. The pictures also showed her accompanying him to his residence, entering his building while touching each other, and leaving alone in the evening. I was devastated, hurt, and angry. Tears came to my eyes as I wondered how she could do this to me while I was still alive. She didn't even think of me once while having an affair. How shameless of her to cheat on me, even though we were married. I was a fool for planning to have children with her. I cried that night but decided to stop being a fool. I stayed with my friends that day, and by 10:30 p.m., my wife started calling me. My friends turned off their phones as I was not in the mood to talk. The next day I went home, and my wife acted like she was worried about me. However, she could tell from my face that something was wrong. I took a bath and left the house without even looking at her. I went straight to a lawyer's office and told him everything, along with my friends and the evidence I had gathered. We then served her with divorce papers by mutual consent in the presence of both our parents. I confronted her and threw the pictures in her face when she denied everything. Everyone was shocked, and I dragged her out of the house and shut the door. I caused a scene in the building, and I even threw her parents out. I shouted that if we couldn't agree on a mutual divorce, I would file for divorce on the grounds of adultery. Even now, my parents hate my in-laws. My wife has finally admitted to her affair and revealed that it had been going on since before we got married. She also admitted to being physically intimate with the man and flirting with him. However, she denies ever sleeping with him. With him, she took leave from the office to spend time with him when I was thinking my wife was busy with her work. Now she is constantly crying and begging me and my parents, saying she made a big mistake and has nothing to do with that guy from now on, and such a thing will never happen again. She had left her job and is pleading to live like a servant in my house and obey me, but not to divorce her. Her parents are also requesting. Now she is complaining that she felt lonely as I was a workaholic. She was also working, so how can she use such a lame excuse? I loved her a lot, but she killed my love for her. I asked her if she was in love with him before marriage. Then why the hell did she marry me? Her answer was that she wanted to end it after meeting me, which is a stupid excuse that destroyed my life. My life is ruined, and I can't get over the fact that she was kissing and flirting with another guy. It always strikes my head. I am dead set on divorce now. I married her, loved her, and she was having an affair and cheated on me, keeping me in the dark until my friends found out. This is what I got for loving my ex-wife. Now, I don't love her anymore, nor do I want to hear her excuses. I just want a clean divorce from her as soon as possible, and my parents are also supporting me. Her tears have no effect on me, but she begs for a last and final chance. Her friends contacted me, saying she is highly depressed and has suicidal tendencies because everyone is hating her. She promises to be loyal to me from now on, and has broken all ties with the other guy, realizing her mistake. I replied to them that I can't believe all this because trust is now gone, which is the foundation of a relationship. So, it's better to end this relationship, and told them to leave. Am I right in being dead set on divorce because I cannot forgive cheating? She could have told me all this before or after marriage. She should have been loyal to me, but she betrayed me. I'm heading towards divorce. I can't believe that she skipped work like college students do just to be with her lover when her husband, was alive. If she had told me the truth, I would have divorced her accordingly if she loves him. My marriage vows were all a lie from her part, so why the hell does she want me now? In fact, by divorcing her, I'm giving her the freedom she wants if she loves him and wants to be with him. Now, my phone is flooded with her begging for forgiveness, and she even came crying and in shame, falling on her knees when I refused to take her back in any way. She asks for a last and final chance, and to obey all my orders in life from now on, and never do such things ever again. But I feel that cheating is not a mistake, and I can't forgive it. Her pictures with the other guy kissing and the thought of her flirting with him always strikes my head, and it has damaged my mental peace. I am not able to concentrate on anything and get angry over small things. It is affecting my mental balance. Comments: whatever decision you make, you have to confront the truth. Everyone here will tell you that your wife is still lying. She obviously slept with this guy. We have seen many times this behavior, where the wife just accepts what has been proven, which in this case is dates, kisses, and fooling around. But you have to face reality. From what we know, maybe she has been having this affair from day one of the marriage. Besides, she takes that leave week not to go on dates, but to have time to enjoy intimate encounters with him. Now, there is another factor to consider. From what I understand in your story, you are from Hindu culture. So, the reason she is seeking reconciliation may not necessarily be her love for you, but the shame she will bring to her family if you divorce her. Her parents are probably even telling her that they will disown her if you don't take her back. The problem with this is that she has strong motivations to seek reconciliation and do whatever it takes to save the marriage. Do the heavy lifting, but for the right reasons. Not because she loves you, but because she is remorseful for hurting you. If you decide to reconcile, she must give you a full timeline of when the affair began and what she did with him. To know the full truth, you can even use a polygraph test. Most cheaters who deny their actions will crack once they know they will be taking a polygraph test. Some confess immediately after being told about the test, but many continue to deny sleeping together when they think the test is just an empty threat. Before going through all of this, you must decide if her cheating, even without knowing the full truth, is a deal breaker for you. Personally, I believe that a person who cheats in a marriage of just 1 or 5 years is not worth the effort of considering reconciliation. You are young and do not have children with this woman yet. She was supposed to still be in the honeymoon phase, where she is supposed to be into you, and yet she cheated. From an objective point of view, it is better to leave now than to risk losing even more in 20 years with children, a mortgage, and a complicated asset division. OP responds, I am a professional person and my job is hectic sometimes. I cannot compromise on that, but as my wife, she should have understood this or discussed the problem with me. Instead, she chose the wrong path. She never once told me she felt lonely during our marriage. On Sundays, I always make sure to spend maximum time with her. Even if I have to work until noon, I will leave my in-laws' place in the morning if she wants to spend time gossiping and chatting. She was a working woman and knew about my hectic schedule. It was only on rare days that I would come home late at 11:30 p.m., and by then, she would already be asleep. But when I discovered her affair, what does my work have to do with it? She was spending time with that guy, and I was kept in the dark about it from the start of our marriage. My marriage was a betrayal, and if she truly loved him, she could have told me about it, and I would have stepped away from her path. I worked hard and earned money, but for whom? For her, only to keep her happy and meet all her demands. But now it's all ruined. She gave me hope and then killed it. My marriage lasted only a year, but my world collapsed in one day. And now, why the hell does she want me? She should be happy that I let her go, without any obstacles in her path. Yes, I am in the process of divorcing her. It has been almost half a year since I have been here. How could she have an affair when I, her husband, was still alive? She never once thought about me while doing all of this. And if we're talking about affairs, I could have had one too. Who would have stopped me? But I always respected my cultural and family values. I never imagined that I would be in this situation. If we're talking about domestic violence, the Indian court takes into account what led me to do that before taking action. In my case, it is clear that I was betrayed, and my mental state was disturbed. Therefore, she cannot press charges against me for her wrongdoings. If she files a complaint against me to harass me, I will expose her adultery and have her arrested. Arrested for cheating on me under criminal breach of trust and cheating law under Indian Penal Code. Anyways, I don't wish to take revenge on her. I just wanted to clearly end my relationship with her. I hit her out of anger when she denied her cheating, whereas I had evidence of her cheating on me. Now I have filed for divorce. I don't love her anymore, and in the future, I don't want to see her face ever again. As per Indian divorce law, I will have to wait 6 months, as the court has granted me a reconciliation period. If there are still no results, I will be granted a divorce. This happened because divorce is by mutual consent. If it were under adultery law, I would have gotten it the day I filed for divorce. As I mentioned earlier, I don't want to shame her in front of society or take revenge on her. I just want to legally and mentally be out of all relationships with her. It's her life, she can do what she wants. I don't want any court battles with her unless she provokes me. Of course, I have the proof, so I know I will win. If I proceed legally, I can even land her in jail for cheating on me. And if she files any false case, I will do the same. The simple question I would like to ask is, if the affair was concerned, I would have also had it by cheating on her. Who would have stopped me from having it? No one. But I do respect my culture, marriage, and family-oriented life. Is this what I deserve? I came to know about all these laws when I fell into a divorce situation. Now, our divorce is happening because I threatened her to expose her adultery if she refuses divorce in court. Hence, we both peacefully agreed to divorce in court even though she was crying. I noticed it, hence the Bombay court agreed. But still, a 6-month time period is given to us for reconciliation, which is impossible for me. I refuse to have any contact with her. Moreover, in India, it is not so easy to walk out of a marriage, even if anyone wants to, as the courts won't allow it to happen without any serious reasons. And the spouse who walks out of the marriage will land in legal trouble if they refuse to be in that marriage without a valid reason, irrespective of whether they are the wife or husband who tries to leave their spouse. Hence, the divorce rates are lower here. None of my colleagues, friends, or any known person are divorced. They are all happily married and have loving wives. I am the only one who will be a divorcee soon. I just hate to be in a situation like this for no fault of mine. I never thought I would be in a situation like this. I have my parents' support too, so there is no question of getting back together. I am just waiting for the time period given by the court to be over by January next year. Story 2. I'm not even really sure where to begin, but I need advice because I simply don't know what to do. I am in a delicate situation and feel that my marriage is hanging by a thread. I have been married for over 8 years now, and I am 28 years old. I got married at 19, and we have no children yet because we are still in college. At some point during the spring semester last year, my husband met Abby, a 19-year-old girl from a very poor family. She is very pretty and smart, and she also happens to be part of my husband's large group of friends. She found herself in a bad situation over the summer semester with nowhere to stay to go to school. Honestly, this is where I should have done something, but I was worried that it would drive a rift between us because he wanted to help her so badly. So he wanted to let her stay on our couch over the summer, and I said yes. She stayed for the summer, and everything seemed fine until the last few weeks. One night, the three of us were at our apartment, and she was helping me edit my paper for English. In passing, she made a comment about my husband being bisexual, something I had never heard before. I waited until she left and asked him if it was true, and he said yes. So I asked him why she knows, and I didn't, to which he replied that Abby is easier to talk to than me, and he tells her everything. He also regularly makes comments when she mentions a feature about herself that she doesn't like, saying that if he weren't married, he would take her in a manly fashion. I have asked him repeatedly if anything has ever happened between them, and he has always firmly said no. But there is clearly some emotional dependency between these two. I would honestly say it's a non-physical relationship. Assuming he isn't lying, I think it could easily become physical with the right circumstances, because there is already an admitted attraction that they are both aware of. At the same time, I do not wish to overreact or underreact to the situation I am in. My mom developed a relationship with another man when I was in 8th grade and throughout high school until my parents finally separated when I was 19. Whether or not they were ever just friends is unknown to me, but I watched it clearly become an affair, and those two are now married. This is the reason I am worried about how to respond. Besides that, since everyone is friends and there is no way for me to monitor whether they are around each other or not, doing anything could make the situation worse. I have started talking to a friend about it, but they also know my husband, along with basically everyone else I know, and are likely to say something to him, which would only escalate the situation. What should I do? I guess I should have mentioned, when I said she stayed for the summer semester, that it was just for the summer to help her out, not a permanent thing. She has been gone for a couple of months from the apartment. Also, she didn't tell me he is bisexual. She made a comment to him about him being bisexual while she was reading my paper. I just happened to be there and overheard it, which is what opened all this up. Because, like you guys, I have a problem with not being the one he told this to, and only finding out because I directly asked after a comment she made about him liking guys. The fact that he has admitted he can talk to her more easily and has told her things he hadn't told me, and that he sees no issue with what he is doing or plans to stop, tells me he is having an emotional affair. He has basically admitted to it without using that terminology. It's plainly obvious, seeing them together and hearing him talk about her, that they are having an emotional affair. It has progressed so far, and there is ample opportunity for something to happen if they want it to, or if the right emotional situation comes along and pushes them to it. This is what worries me, along with him saying that he sees no problem telling someone he is attracted to and likes, who also has an emotional relationship with him, that he would have slept with them if I wasn't in the picture. Clearly, there is a lot wrong with our relationship if he can tell someone else before me that he is bisexual, and then thinks telling me that she is easier to talk to is a justifiable reason for his actions. He wanted to help her, and I care about people. There was a lot of pressure from various sides to do it. I didn't know what their relationship was like, because at the time I was finishing in an 18-credit-hour semester while working full-time. The problem with telling him no contact is that I have absolutely no way of enforcing it or monitoring it besides by using detective methods. I am a full-time student and I work full-time as well. The only difference is that he works at the school where he met her, and obviously sees her regularly, along with all his other friends. We both have to work full-time to live, and we have to go to school full-time to get loans. He has 8 hours a day of work, while I have to balance work and school. He has the apartment to himself for a few hours each day. She lives on campus in the dorms, and I've never been there, but who knows if he has. I'm not okay with their relationship, and I don't want her around me. I thought she respected me more than she obviously does. I also can't afford to live alone, and my parents aren't even close to my school, so I can't go back to them. I guess I should do some detective work, and if I find out he isn't involved, then I can pretend the same and stay until I get my degree, or at least some sort of financial cushion for when the truth comes out, and then I can leave. I am more concerned about what's happening at school and at home, and I want to get an idea of what their conversations are like. He is extremely defensive of the relationship and doesn't want to end it, so I'm sure he'll try to convince me that nothing is going on. While I could just hang out with his friends at school and be around them, I don't think I would learn anything from doing so, and I would probably start failing my classes from not studying. So I think I will stick to more covert methods. I don't think the issue is about him sleeping with guys, but rather admitting that he is attracted to them in the first place. I am also bisexual, but I don't feel the need to sleep with a bunch of girls. It doesn't mean I don't want to. It just means I don't. That's why I'm not really responding to that aspect. The reason I brought up his bisexuality is because that's something she knew about him that I didn't, and I wanted you to know how far their communication goes beyond what I know. My husband also knows I'm bisexual and didn't tell me, so maybe that makes it even worse. Either way, I obviously need to find out more information about what's going on when I'm not around. I read the standard evidence post, which has a lot of great tips for voice and computer surveillance. Maybe I missed it, but I didn't see any options for video. Do you guys think that's less useful, or is the voice option good enough? I have a computer that regularly sits on my desk, facing my bed. If there's a way to record discreetly from my computer using a webcam or something similar, that would be helpful. As long as it's not obvious that it's happening, there are other places in the bedroom where I could easily hide a camera as well. The living room shouldn't be a problem either. What do you suggest for hiding something in his backpack or possibly on his person so I can hear what's going on while he's at school? That is my main concern, aside from the apartment. I could probably hide surveillance in the school areas where I know he goes with everyone, but I don't know what more private areas he might use. I need something to plant on him. The woman no longer lives with us. She only stayed with us over the summer because she was in a bad situation, living with a horrible guy who would sometimes lock her out at night. It was a crazy mess, which is why I let her stay with us briefly. If anything was going on, they are either really good at hiding it, or it developed after she left because there were no signs of anything strange happening. It wasn't until recently, maybe in the last month or so, that he started acting really weird about her and defensive about their relationship. Now he's trying to act like everything is normal again. He cooked me dinner and isn't fighting or defending their relationship. He's just agreeing not to talk to her about things instead of me. He seems genuine, but this whole situation is just too weird. So I'm going to proceed with surveillance measures. I'm still trying to think of something I could plant in his backpack for school. If anyone has any ideas, please let me know. I'm dumb enough to not see what's going on, but I know what's happening with these tactics. He has clearly forgotten that I watched my mom do the same thing to my dad for about a decade before he kicked her out. He tried to make it work. He told her it was inappropriate. He had the whole family tell her it was inappropriate, but it never stopped. I'm not going to waste my time on a man who would do that to me. If it's more than emotional, it's done, and I'll find out soon enough. I've ordered my vase and other stuff. I made a new email and ordered with ties to it. I'm having someone he knows by face but not socially accept the shipment at her place so he won't know it exists. She doesn't even know it exists. I asked if I could have something shipped there, and she just agreed without asking. So unless she opens it, I'm the only one who knows I got it. She also doesn't know the situation or so pretty good start, yeah. The other part is, even if he finds them, I'm in college, so I have legitimate reasons to have them. I can use multiple excuses with, so that's where that went. But I doubt he'll look or realize I'm even suspicious because I'm not going to show up around them. I'm not asking him anything else about it, and I'm going to keep sleeping with him to make sure suspicions don't arise on his part, because why not? If he is cheating on me, He's already sleeping with both of us anyways. The only difference is now I'm aware that that potential exists. I've looked through his computer, and there's not much there. I didn't think there would be. What was there was concerning in regard to the way they have written to each other. But it's brief, and there isn't much of it because they can see each other privately, basically every day at school. I'm hoping I can come up with a solution for school monitoring because I need one, especially if I don't get much, or anything at home from that monitoring. Do I also have to keep pretending to be friends with this woman? Barely see her, but we're supposed to be friends. If I'm trying to do surveillance, I have to pretend everything is fine and I've given up. I mean, I don't want him to talk to her ever again, let alone myself. But until I know what is occurring and whether I want to stay with my spouse, that seems like it would only be detrimental to discovery. Any tips for how to do that? Can I go back afterwards once I assess the situation and tell him to stay away from her, assuming it works out? I'm torn. I want her out of the picture now, so badly. But if I do that, it will be 100% harder to catch them, won't it? If it continues, or is that not an issue with surveillance? Also, how would I know the extent of their relationship if I tell him to cut it? I don't want to pretend to be her friend. I don't want to pretend I'm fine. I want to scream and throw things and tell him he's ducking, betrayed me, and be upset, and only have to deal with it. I cut back my hours this semester to have more time with my husband and be more social. I am making an effort. This is the lowest number of hours I can take and still get the loans that allow me to go. And I have to work to pay our bills. There's nothing I can do about either of those things. I need my GPA to get hired when I graduate. I realize after my first job it means nothing, but until then, I needed to get a good starting wage and good position in my field. Even if I didn't do as much homework, it wouldn't change our relationship. He works second shift, I work third shift. I have morning classes 2 days a week, and then night classes while he is at work for the rest. He has morning classes, so I'm here. He isn't. And if you think I should switch to a different shift, well, he told me I should get a night shift in the first place. Which, whatever, probably not the best sign. He was going to get one too, only he never did. And now my class is to graduate. Classes for graduation are mainly offered for the second shift, so I can't change my schedule. I doubt he will either, because he is probably sleeping with that girl and doesn't want me around more. And I realize school isn't everything. Do you think I give a duck about any of my classes right now? I would fail and repeat this whole semester if it would save my marriage. It won't. Whatever he is doing, and there's nothing I can do about it. Besides, find out and deal with it. And scream online. I can't just leave either, we have no money. Our parents don't help us at all, and we make basically nothing. While I pay for our expenses, that is basically all our money can do. So I'm gonna have to stay until after we get our loan money for next semester. So I have enough money to live on, go to school, and potentially move out if necessary. That's still 3 months of dealing with this if something is going on. Unless my parents decide to actually give a duck about me and help me out. I don't know. Maybe some of our mutual friends would take my side and support me, but who can count on something like that? I keep going from extremely angry to extremely hurt, and I'm sorry for the drastic changes, but I'm very upset and not coping well. I probably won't get my surveillance equipment until the end of next week, which isn't helping me stay calm. It will give him a chance to believe that this is blown over and go back to whatever he is doing, if that's what he wants to do. A couple of days later, I have been processing this whole thing slowly, mainly reacting until Wednesday afternoon, but I'm starting to process better now. I managed to get my exam date moved, so I haven't failed it yet. I called my professor and told him what's going on and started crying, which I'm sure wasn't awkward for him at all. I talked to my mom tonight before work and filled her in on the basics of what's going on. While my parents aren't very financially supportive, my mom at least is informed about how I am doing most of the time. She started hinting that maybe he should work when I work, but I told her about the recorders. It was basically an oh damn moment because I don't think she expected it from me, but of course it isn't exactly from me. It's from you guys protecting me. I mainly just am quoting the above because it resonates with me as to when he comes home and such. I have no idea because I'm at work, which was a huge factor in getting the VR equipment. I think I'm gonna start out more slowly with it than I intended until I get good at it. I don't want to get caught doing it because then it's pointless, and I am paranoid like that. Once I get good with it, I'll branch out into the school scenario. I did approach him about their friendship and said, look, you guys are clearly emotionally involved. There is a lot of dirty conversation going on, and I'm just not comfortable with you being around her alone. Even if you aren't alone with her, I still don't want you guys talking about that stuff. You're my husband, we're married, it needs to stop. His response was, okay, and a hug and kiss, after the huge, crazy, defensive argument about the kinds of things they were talking about and how it wouldn't lead to good places with his whole nothing would ever happen bullcrap. He said, okay, to me that doesn't exactly add up. So either he was more upset by the implication that he could cheat on me in the previous discussion, or he knows I have no way of finding anything out because of my schedule, which isn't true. Regardless, I am acting absolutely thrilled that all of our problems are now solved, because he is staying away from her until I find out whether or not he is staying away from her. As for what they have in common, I don't know. They like some of the same shows and whatever, and she hangs out with the guys he hangs out with. So I can only assume there were days where she was upset, and he tried to cheer her up or asked what's wrong and heard her life story. He's always been protective of her, so she probably feels safe around him. I don't know what they are like when I'm not around. As for telling him, this is what will happen if I find you together or any of that, I don't think it's necessary. He was told not to do it, and he agreed. He definitely should know me well enough to know there are consequences. If he doesn't, then I guess he doesn't know me very well, or he is dumb. I am very open about how I view and feel about things, and I'll probably kick him out since he has all these friends. He can stay with one of them. I'm not dwelling on this stuff right now. I'm in planning mode. I intend to spend a bit of time looking over our finances more closely and figuring out how I can save up some extra money in case of emergencies, besides our basic emergency fund. Honestly, it might be good that I am so busy. He knows when I'm not around, but it doesn't change. So he knows when he can get away with stuff. I might not have to wait too long to find stuff out. Again, if anyone knows about handheld radios and how they interact with VOR, please let me know, because I don't want him to get fired due to feedback or something. If he's cheating, it's one thing to find out, but if he isn't, that is really not gonna help the relationship. Hey honey, I'm bugging you. Sorry you got fired for misusing the radios because I bugged you. By the way, we can't pay rent now. It wouldn't go over well, and it's extremely hard to find full-time work that is accommodating to college schedules. A week later, why is he still talking to her? 2 days in a row? I guess I shouldn't give a crap about our marriage either. Maybe I should just go around making dirty comments to guys. I'm sure nothing will happen. I didn't even ban seeing her in public, just private contact. I mean, really, what the duck am I doing with this guy if he doesn't respect me enough to stay the duck away from this girl? No, I am seriously asking you because I don't know. I moved from another country to be with him. I do 90% of the housework. I work, I go to school, I cook when I can, and he spends all of his time with his friends, leaving no time for just the two of us, and is doing whatever the hell he is doing with that girl. Tell no, this is bull crap. And I found more Facebook messages. One day, when my ducks are in a row, I'll just be moving my crap out, probably while he is at work, and I'll leave divorce papers and a long letter explaining why I left. Or better yet, if you can serve people with divorce papers outside, I will make that happen where he hangs out with all of his friends, since they should see that. My comment: what do you guys think about these divorce stories? Do you like stories that have a final ending? Comment down below, subscribe and hit the bell, and stay tuned for the next love story.